Later in December, the administration gave each family a Christmas tree, hauled in from the Sierras. A new director had appointed this, and this was his gesture of apology for all the difficulties that he had led up to the riot. A promise of better treatment and better times to come. It was a honest gesture, but it wasn't much of a Christmas that year. The presents were makeshift. The wind was roaring. Papa was drunk. Better times were a long way off. And the difficulties, it seemed, had just begun. Early in February, the government's loyalty oath appeared. Everyone 17 and over was required to fill it out. This soon became the most divisive issue of all. It cut deeper than the riot. Because no one could avoid it, not even Papa. After 5 months of self-imposed isolation, this debate was finally forced him out of the barracks and into circulation again. At a time, it was too young to understand the problem. I only knew there was no peace in our cubicle for weeks. Block organizer would come to talk to Papa and my brothers. They would huddle over the table a while, muttering like conspirators, sipping tea in one of his concoctions. Their voices gradually would rise to shouts and frets. One would try to calm the men down. Papa would tell her to shut up, but then Granny would interrupt and order him to quit disgracing Mama all the time. Once he just shoved Granny across the room, up against the bar, and back into her chair, and where she sat sniffling while the arguments went on. If the organizers weren't there, Papa would argue with Woody. Or rather, Woody would listen to Papa lecture him in true loyalty, pacing from bung to bung, waving his cane. Listen to me, Woodrow. When a soldier goes into war, he must win a believing. He is never coming back. This is why the Japanese are such courageous warriors. They are prepared to die. They expect nothing else. But to do that, you must believe in what you're fighting for. If you do not believe, you will not be willing to die. You are not willing to die. You won't fight well. And if you don't fight well, you will be probably killed stupidly for the wrong reason, unheroically. So they tell me and you think of going off to fight. Woody also answered softly, respecting the boy and submissive smile. It will fight well, Papa. In this war, it was. How is it possible? I am an American citizen. America is at war, but look where they have put us. The more of us who go into the army, the sooner the war will be over. The sooner you and Mama will be out of here. Do you think I would risk losing a son for that? You want me to answer no, Papa? Do you think that is what I'm telling you? Of course you cannot answer no. If you say no, you will be shipped back to Japan with all those other Bakater. But if I answer yes, I will be drift anyway. No matter how I feel about that is why they are giving us the oath to sign. No, that is not true. That are looking for volunteers. And only a fool would volunteer. Papa stared hard at Woody, making this a challenge. Woody shrugged, still smiling his boyish smile. And they did not argue. He knew when the time he would join the army, and he knew it was pointless to begin the argument again. It was a circle. His duty as a son was sit and listen to Papa thrash his way around and around and around it. A circle, or you might have called it a corral, like Manzanar itself. It was led to the infantry, the second base, the second brag around the Pacific. The third relocation was just upon returning citizens who could find a job and a sponsor somewhere inland away from the West Coast, beginning to trickle people out of camp. But the program was bogged down in paperwork. It was taking months to process applications of security clearances, a loyalty statement required of everyone. It was hoped might save some time and lots of red tape. This together, we searched for loyal soldiers who had given the rise to the ill-filled oath. Well, 2 weeks before the December riot, JACL leadersmen in Salt Lake City, it passed on resolution legislacy to the volunteer of the camps for military service. In January, the government announced its plan to form an all-assigned no-combat regiment, while recruiting for this unit and speeding up the relocation program. The government loyal and thus a clear idea of, of exactly how many agents and Japanese emphasizer it was actually how to deal with it. This part of it would have been comical. It was if the results were not so grotesque. No self-respected espionage agent willing admit he was disloyal, yet the very idea of the oath itself. Yet the very idea of the oath itself, appearing at the end of the first chaotic year, beginning the final goad that prodded many once loyal citizens that turned militantly an American anti-America. And the beginning, Papa knew his own answer would be yes, yes. He would agree. He agreed with Woody on this much, even though it meant swearing against to the government that had sent him for Lincoln. There, and denying his connections with one country in the world where he might still have the rights of a citizen. The alternative was worse. If he said no, he could be sent to Tool Glen Camp in North Carolina. They were all disloyal, were to be assembled for what most people believed would be eventual repatriation to the camp. Japan. Papa had no reason to return to Japan. He was too old to start over. He believed America would win in the war, and he knew even after all he endured, that he had a future will still lay in this country. What's more, a move to a lake could mean a further splitting of a feeling. This was a hard choice to make, and even harder to hold to anti-American feelings. It ran stronger than ever. Japan formed were trying to organize a no vote by blocks in massive resistance. Others want to boycott the oath altogether in the show of non-cooperation or for the mistaken fear of no one who accepted the form who should get the no-nos. It was back to Japan, the yes and an American society for the wartime hostility and racial hate. A meeting to debate the matter was called in our messing hall. Papa knew that a Merling showed in his face would draw stares and mutter comments. Yes, wasn't expecting. I did have a knew, but you had to speak your mind. before the no-no contingent carry the block, said no-no as an individual was thing. Okay, good. Bullying the entire camp in the quieter was another. At the very least, he didn't want to be sucked into such a decision without having his own opinion heard. Wanted to go with him, but Papa said it was a meeting of heads of households. Only he insisted on going alone. From time he heard about he possibly drank nothing stronger than tea. She shaved and trimmed his mustache and put on a silk tie. His limb was nearly gone now, but he carried his cane and he went stronger off down the narrow wallway between the barracks, pushing the at the packed earth in front of him. About 4 o'clock, I would play hopscotch in the fireplace with 3 other girls. It was winter. The sun had already dropped between my windy and a wind was rising, the kind of biting, steady wind that could bring an ocean sand into any camp at any moment. And there was no warning. I was hurrying back to the barracks. I heard a big commotion inside the mess hall, men shouting wildly as if a fire had broken out. The loudest voice was put up as cursing. Etta! Etta! Bacariaro! Bacariaro! The door of the mess hall had flew open and opened a short, beefy man carrying turning out. He jumped off the porch and as his feet hit the ground. He didn't get far. Papa came through the doorway, right behind the flying leap. Below a warrior. Yeah! He let go of his cane as he landed on the man's back. And they both tumbled into the dirt. The wind was rising, half the sky was dark, and a ton of sand poured towards us. The dust billowed and spun as they kicked and pummeled and thrashed each other. At the meeting, when Papa stood up to defend the yes position, the members of Inu began to circulate them around the mess hall. This man then jumped up and his speaker's table and they made a charge aloud. Papa went for him. Outside in the dirt, Papa had him by the throat and would have strangled him. But some of the men pulled them apart. I had never seen them living, yelling out of his head with rage. Now they pinned his arms. He kicked at the sand when wind-blown bursts of it toward the knot of the men, dragging his opponent out of reach. A few moments later, the sandstorm hit. The sky turned black as night. Everyone ran for cover. Two men hustled Papa to our barracks. The fighting against the wind and sand. We get there, calm him down as some. What happens when you read too much? Anyway, I bet Daddy he will warn me. Now where was I? Oh yeah! Now where was I? Oh yeah! Back inside his sat by the stove, holding his teacup, and didn't speak for a long time. One cheekbone was raw when it had been smashed and had been mashed into the sand. And Mama pouring him little trickles of tea, listened to the wind howl. When the sand died down, the sky stayed black. So the storm had knocked out the electricity all over the camp. It was a cold, lonely night, and we huddled around this oil stove. While Mama and Woody and Chizo began to talk about the day. A young woman came in, a friend of Chizu's, who lived across the way. He studied in Japan for several years. About the time he went to bed, and she and Papa began to sing Japanese in Japan, warming their hands on either the side of the stone. Over, facing each other in its glow. After a while, Papa sang the first line of the Japanese national anthem, Kimi ga Yo. Woody, Chizu, and Nala knew the tune. So they hummed along while Papa and the other women sang the words. It can be a hearty or plaintive tune. It depends on the mood. And the night, it was deep-throated, a lemon almost invisible in the stove's small glow began running down his face. I had seen him cry for a few years, and only he happened when he was singing, or when someone else sang a song that moved him. He played the string song. He said, Akiko and I called his Pinko Pinko. We would laugh together when we heard him plucking his and whining out old Japanese melody. We would hold our ears and giggle. It was a great joke between us, uh, except those rare times in Japan between the a weep at the lyrics. So would quiet, just stare quietly as I did the night from some hidden corner of the room. It was mysterious. This was always mysterious and incomprehensible. The national anthem I later learned. It, it was he sung every morning. A schoolboy had in Japan. They would sing. They would still sing it. There was American Kids Pledge of Allegiance of the flag. It was not a martial song, a victory song, or a national anthems are. It was really a poem whose words go back to the 9th century. Kimi ga wa chi no yoni yakin yoni achi no mi sazare eshi no iwa o tonare itikoki no masume. May the peaceful rain last long. It was lasted now for thousands of years. Yeah, until this stone was grown into a massive rock, and the moss was covered deep and thick. It was a patriotic song that could also be read as a proverb, as a personal credo for endurance. The stone can be in the kingdom, or it can be a man's life. The moss-free greenery McKenna that in time will spring from a rock in Japan, or the turning of a century up outside the father's house. They stood one of those stone lanterns with 4 stubby legs and a pagoda-like roof. Each morning, someone in the household would pour a bucket full of water over his lantern, and after several years of skin, letting vegetation would show on the stone. As a boy, he saw the taunt. He the last line of the anthem refers to a certain type of mossy lichen, exquisitely tiny white flowers sprinkled in the green.